Hello, good evening everyone. Online students, can you tell me whether it is audible or not? This text message and chat box. Is it audible, visible? Okay. Good evening everyone. Let us discuss World War I today. So we all know that World War took place from 1914 to 1918. It is one of the bloodiest war took place on the planet Earth, which has taken so many lives, so much loss of life, so many development took place after the World War. So as usual, we need to discuss what are the causes of a World War, and then major battles that took place, and then what are the outcomes of World War, what really happened after that, and what are the measures taken to prevent any other wars like World War I. But we all know again World War took place, so from 1939 to 1945, that's another topic. So let's dig deeper. Actually, we need to understand one thing here. We all know Germany is the culprit. Germany is the culprit. No network stability. Somebody is saying no network stability. Is it from our end or their end? Okay. I can check the video here. We don't have any network issues. Please check it. Okay. And then world was divided into two factions. One is Central powers and the other one is Allied powers. So Allied powers are France, then Britain, Russia. Central powers, Germany, Austro-Hungary, then Turkey. So one thing you have to be careful is there are other alliances before the war, other alliances before World War I. You should not get confused with this. For example, these are alliances or allied powers or central powers once the war started. But before that, there are some alliances. We need to look at them. For example, see, what was the scenario in Europe during pre-war era? So you can say that Germany was very much leading power at that time. We all know Great Britain was also leading power, and all these countries were trying to expand their territories, particularly in Africa. Particularly in Africa. So you can call it, historians call it, everybody was scrambling for Africa, craving to go to Africa. We all know that Africa is a very backward continent at that time. It has a lot of resources and cheap labor. So European countries, as usual, whatever they did in other continents, they just wanted to exploit that continent for their economic and political gains. So that's why we call it imperialistic expansion. So using military and then power, okay, controlling another country, occupying other country is nothing but imperialism. So imperialism is used for territorial expansion. That happened in Africa. And then what were the two alliance systems prevailing in Europe then? So this is what I am talking about. Don't get confused with the central powers and allied powers. That is, once the war started, before the war, we have lot of alliances, not lot of alliances, main two alliances. That is a triple alliance: Germany, Austria, Hungary and Italy. And try to understand, Austria, Hungary, both countries were one kingdom at that time. It has not become a nation state. It was a dynasty. It was ruled by Habsburg. Habsburg dynasty. That is the name of the dynasty. And then Germany and Austria-Hungary was very close for a long time, and Italy was also part of Triple Alliance. And make no mistake, Italy did not participate and did not support this Triple Alliance once war started. They had their own private agenda, their own selfish needs. So they supported central, allied powers. That means triple entente. You call it a triple entente. Triple entente cordiale. This is a French name. So Britain, France, Russia. These three countries formed a formidable alliance. Apart from that, there are other alliances also. We will come to know that later. But one thing is, there are alliances. These alliances created unnecessary suspicion, tension, which led to major conflicts in Europe. You need to understand, Europe is the continent where a lot of wealth, development, and also they are the root cause for all evils throughout the world, whether it is imperialistic expansions or wars, exploitation, whatever it may be, they are the root cause for all that. So for example, take, there are three countries, okay. So this one country and second country both are like they have a secret agreement that in times of war you have to help me, I will help you in times of war. And the third country doesn't know that they are in secret agreement, okay. So next thing is, they know that there are lot of secret agreements, they don't know between which countries. So this led to very much suspicion between the among the countries. So that is the reason. And one more thing is, they are always competing for Africa, African territories. That is another problem. Now you can see what were the major causes of friction among these nations? The major crisis between 1900 and 1914. We know war started in 1914 to 1918. So, what were the major crises? We need to understand that the major crises are related to Morocco as well as Serbia. We will discuss that later. So, Kaiser Wilhelm, Wilhelm. Kaiser Wilhelm. Remember, this Kaiser is a title given to German emperors like Pharaohs, Egypt's, Tsars, Russians. Okay. So, in the same way, a German emperor title is a Kaiser. His name is Wilhelm. So, he visited Morocco, that is an African country, and he denounced, criticized the influence of France. So, it really provoked international crisis. So, Germany was involved in this crisis. Later, in a conference, Algeciras conference in 1906, actually it was resolved in favor of France. Then same thing happened, again in Morocco. So, this crisis actually because of Germany sending a gunboat to prevent their own people, but it was misunderstood and it also escalated to a conflict. So, you can say that France and Germany are at loggerheads because of this small issues. So, this is a foundation laid here for the enmity between Germany as well as France. Now, please view it in full screen. Okay. Next point is annexation of Bosnia Herzegovina. So, try to understand. Let me show you. So, sorry. Where to go back? This one. Check it out here. This one, Austria-Hungary, or you call it a Habsburg Empire. Okay. Then this is Serbia. So, actually in 1914, Bosnia Herzegovina was part of Austria-Hungary Empire, but now Bosnia is a separate country. So, at that time Serbia had some problems. There are a lot of Serbians in Bosnia Herzegovina, lot of Serbian people. Okay. So, the problem is here, Serbia was actually supporting a terrorist organization known as Black Hand. So, this is the problem for Austria-Hungary with Serbia. So, Serbians are supporting a terrorist organization in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and then Austria-Hungary, or you call it Habsburg Empire, had some problems with Serbia, and this Serbia is supported by Russia. So that's a small country. It doesn't have that military might to fight against Habsburg Empire, but it is supported by fellow Russians. So because they are all known as same ethnic race, you call it Slavs. They are all Slav nations. So Russia was supporting Serbia. And one more thing you have to understand, we will be discussing later about it, but let me discuss here. All this, we have Ottoman Empire. This Ottoman Empire controlled a lot of countries here, almost all 14 countries for 600 years. 600 years. This Ottoman Empire was the largest Muslim empire at that time. All the Muslims looked up to that empire as head of Muslim religion. They looked up to him like that. He was known as a Khalifa. So their emperor is known as a Sultan. As I told you, Tsar, Russians, Paris, Egypt. Now, what is the state I told you? One state I told you, like Russians, Romanovs. Okay. So this emperor is known as a Khalifa or Sultan. Now the problem is, after French Revolution, nationalism started. Nationalism means they wanted to become separate nation states instead of being ruled by a dynasty or a king or emperor. So they wanted to break away. So 13 countries like Serbia, then Bosnia Herzegovina, okay, Bulgaria, Romania, even Greek was, believe it or not, the great kingdom Greek was part of Ottoman Empire. So first Greek started breaking away. Albania was part of Ottoman Empire. Montenegro was part of Ottoman Empire. So all these were known as Balkan countries. Balkan countries. Balkan countries. These Balkan tensions were there. It is also one of the reasons for First World War, because all these countries had a lot of jealousy for each other, and then these big countries like Germany, Russia, France, these countries wanted to support some countries or wanted to control some countries. It is like a different kind of imperialism. You go and occupy one country, that is imperialism. But here they wanted to keep them like banana countries. That means they will listen to you whatever you say. For the sake of dominance or hegemony, they wanted to have some countries by their side. It's like a groupism or something like that. So that is one more reason. Nationalism among the Balkan countries, groupism among these big countries led to Balkan tensions, which exploded, snowballed in World War I. One of the major reasons for World War I. So actually what happens is, I would like to tell you now itself, this a 19-year-old boy, okay, Gavrili Princip, 19-year-old guy, he kills Austria-Hungary princess and his wife in Sarajevo. Actually spelling is J-E-U-O, the pronunciation is Sarajevo. That is the capital of Bosnia now. But at that time, Bosnia was part of Austria-Hungary or Habsburg Empire. So when Serbia killed, I mean not Serbian person, okay, 19-year-old person, who was presumed to be a member of Black Hand organization, terrorist organization, which was supported by Serbia. Okay, so his name is Archduke Ferdinand, Princess. So he was killed. His wife was also killed. Now it actually escalated to things which resulted in World War I. The reason is, this one incident, one assassination should not result in World War I. But the problem is they already had a lot of enmity, jealousy between Balkan countries, and then the problem is they are waiting for some opportunities to actually achieve their own private agenda. Each country has some private agenda. I need this territory, I need that territory, I need supremacy in this part, I need dominance in this part. Like that, they have their own goals. But when time comes, when time is ripe, they wanted to achieve. But now, these people, particularly Austria-Hungary, just says they give ultimatum to Serbia. They say, as you caused the assassination of our princess, you merge your country with our country. That is not a negotiation. They know they will not accept, Serbia will not accept. And then they can go for war. In the pretext of war, they are giving this kind of negotiations, conditions which are not practical, which are not acceptable under any circumstances. So, let us go back to Russians. Which one we are actually discussing? This one? Are we discussing, third one. We have discussed this one. Now, annexation of Bosnia-Herzegovina. We know, just now I told you, Bosnia-Herzegovina is part of Hungary. Austria-Hungary. Actually, Austria-Hungary Habsburg Kingdom annexed Bosnia-Herzegovina. So now Russia is not happy with that, because Habsburg dynasty was so big one that they are becoming larger and larger, and Russia is not happy. But Austria-Hungary has the help, has the support of Germany. So with German support, Russia could not do anything. So Bosnia-Herzegovina became part of Habsburg Empire or Austro-Hungary Empire. So there was a lot of resentment among Germans against the Triple Entente. As I already told you, it's very funny, Germany as well as Turkey, Austro-Hungary, they formed one alliance, that is Triple Alliance. But Germany was not happy with the Triple Entente, that is France, Russia and Britain. They are not happy with their alliance. So this is simply funny. You can gang up or you can have one faction, but you are not happy with the other faction. So that is another problem. Germany was disappointed of their old policies. It was not fruitful as compared to the European powers. Now there is one more thing is, there is always a rivalry between Germany and Britain. You will come to know that in World War battle, fierce battle takes place, particularly in Navy. We all know that Great Britain's strength is its Navy, because it is an island country and they know, ships, submarines, everything very well, and they have colonized so many countries with the help of ships, and that part of their offenses is very strong, particularly that Navy. And Germany's Navy is also not that less, because they are also equal to Britain. So you all know that these are maybe, particularly Great Britain may be a small country, but it had so many colonies. You take India, almost all 1 million, some people even say 13 lakh. 1 million means 10 More than that, 13 lakh people participated in a World War. 60,000 people died, Indian people. Okay. So, the only recognition Great Britain gave for is they have built India Gate in Delhi. Other than that, nothing. So, they have a lot of support in the form of a colony. It is not support, we were forced. Indians were forced. So, they too have a very huge army because of that support of colonies. Now, there is a novel contention. We have already discussed in the beginning slide itself. There is imperial expansion and competition for economy, competition for superpower status, a competition in navy. There are a lot of competitions between Germany and Britain. That is one of the causes. Next, Serbian nationalism. So, we have discussed that Serbia participated in Balkan Wars. Balkan War 1, 2, Serbia participated. And then Austria-Hungary became wary of the rise of regional power in the form of Serbia. So, this is always common that these are like jealous neighbors. All Balkan states, countries are like jealous neighbors. They are becoming superpowers. They are expanding territories. So, this is the problem all the time. So, relations between Serbia, Austro-Hungary were tense despite King Milan. Actually, the king of Serbia was very supportive for Austro-Hungary empire, but people are not at all interested. Serbia people always saw Austro-Hungary as well as Austro-Hungary country as an enemy. So, there is a problem. There is a distrust by many Serbian nationalists for him leading to his assassination. So, he was also assassinated because his king was very soft towards Austro-Hungary. And then change of regime caused a dramatic shift. So, that King Milan was assassinated. Now, other people came and those were really, trying to follow the aspirations of the people to go against Austro-Hungary. And then Serbia always had the support of Russia. We have discussed that. And then further seeded a sense of nationalism among many Serbians and Croats means Croatia. There is another Balkan country. There are 13 Balkan countries who are part of Habsburg Empire. Croats were also part of Habsburg Empire once. So, this is another problem. Then Russians were suspicious of Austrian ambitions in Balkans. We have already discussed that these are two big countries at that time. So, they have that jealousy and suspicion. They were also bothered about Germany. So, there is another a competition. Russia is a big country and then Germany, okay, they both are suspicious of each others and jealous of each others. And we have already discussed this, the rivalry between Germany and Britain, and it is a different dimension. German businessman, capitalist want war with English. Okay. As if all these reasons are not enough, Germany business people, capitalists wanted a war with Britain. But one thing you have to understand, their war was glorified in Europe. That is another problem, because soldiers go to battle, they fight, they lose their lives, but the people who are at the helm of affairs they try to actually encourage, glorify battles. So, this glorification of battles, irrespective of loss of life and money, was one of the reasons for World War. We can't say that is the important reasons, but that is also one of the reasons. Naval domination, we have already discussed. Germany and Great Britain are biggest involved in naval race. Naval race. It is said that Great Britain had used 250 ships in the war, in single war. So, it is very huge at that time. And then, now what were the key reasons that led to World War? Okay. Before discussing that, I would also tell you one more simple method, main reasons. Main reasons. You can discuss in different ways. Okay. For example, you can use it like a acronym. You can use it like a acronym. Main reasons means M means military, A means alliance, okay, I means imperialism, N means nationalism. Okay, you can use this acronym to remember. So, we have discussed military already. Okay, so not only between Germany and Great Britain, between all the European countries, it is an arms race. Britain, Germany, other countries, they were using industries to produce more weapons of mass destruction rather than for any other economic advancement. They were involved in, they think that if you have weapons, you can go and colonize some African country and can get benefit, exploit them. So, everybody was involved in arms race, that is military. You can elaborate when this question is asked in exam, from exam point of view, you can elaborate. Alliances, you can discuss a triple alliance and then entente, okay, triple entente. Don't get confused. Alliance after war is different. Alliance before war is different. Alliance before war is to just help themselves each other, but that alliance has become main reason for World War I. Okay. So, that triple alliance and triple entente. And then imperialism, so particularly that scramble for African countries and hegemony, domination over Balkan countries is also imperialism. Particularly scramble for what happened in Africa is more of imperialism than Europe. Then nationalism, again this nationalism is Balkan tensions, you can say Balkan tensions. So, imperialism you can discuss African issue, for nationalism Balkan tensions, because after French Revolution 1789, okay, in 1800, in 1900, most of the countries, you can remember that unification of Italy. Italy was not a nation, and then unification of Germany. Germany was also not a nation at that time. Okay, and then we know that Greek broke away from Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire, now Turkey is the only country left. That 13 countries broke away from Ottoman Empire. The only country left is Turkey. Still, that is the largest country in Europe. If you bar Russia, that is a very big country. So, that is nationalism, Balkan tensions. So, these are main reasons. Okay, I hope this acronym will help you. And then Russia backing Siberia, I have already told you, Russia Serbia's anti-Australian policy encouraged by Russia, and Russia backed them. And other thing is, Russia always had a problem with Turkey. You can understand Russia versus Turkey. The problem is, let us check it here. Where is Russia? Here, Russia. Okay. If Russia has to come here, it has to come this way. Okay. That is the only way for Russia, okay, to reach Mediterranean Sea. Okay. They have to come from Black Sea. Okay. Then Aegean Sea. Okay. Mediterranean Sea. Here, which country is there? Turkey. Earlier, Ottoman Empire. So now they wanted to control this area. They want to control this area. So that's why Russia and Turkey always had lot of enmity. So when Russia enters war, Turkey also enters. Of course, it is also a part of a triple alliance. So Turkey enters. So that is the point I just wanted to clarify. Now let us get back to here. So this is what I was talking about, Dardanelles. Okay. One minute. This is a strait, Dardanelles Strait, near Turkey. So Russia wanted this strait, I mean they wanted to control this strait because which was the main trade route for Russia, Russia. So that is the outlet of Black Sea. Okay. Now next one, Germany backing Austria. Okay. So historians call it blank check. What is this? Blank check. Blank check means, I told you that Austrian princess Archduke Ferdinand and his wife was assassinated by Princeps. Okay, Gavrilo Princeps, who belonged to Black Hand terrorist organization backed by Serbia. Now the point is, when this Austro-Hungary Empire discussed with Germany, we are going for a war on Serbia. Germany had its own intentions. They are also part of triple alliances. Without thinking, without delaying, as if they are waiting for war. It is true that Germany had war ambitions some decades ago. I will tell you when that issue comes. They have been planning for that. So they just said, you go ahead, we are here to support you. So that is what blank check here, blank check. So ambitious Germany, that is true, Germany is ambitious. Okay, gave green signal to Serbia, I mean to attack Serbia. So that is one more reason, key reasons. You can say this is immediate cause. We discuss different causes for revolutions or First World War. Now this is immediate cause. And one more thing, as I told you, they are waiting for the opportunity. Okay, so this is immediate cause. Germany always remained a strong ally to Austro-Hungary and then helped them to gain control over the Balkans. So that is the immediate cause, you can say. that is immediate cause. Now, we have already discussed this. Okay? See, 1914, 28th June, okay, Black Hand sent some groups to assassinate Archduke, and then Austro-Hungary declaring war on Serbia. So, what is his name? 19-year-old, okay, Gavrilo Princip, he assassinated. Where? I told you Sarajevo, not Jovo, Sarajevo. That is the capital city of Bosnia, but Bosnia-Herzegovina was part of Habsburg Empire, or you call Austro-Hungary Kingdom. So, there he was assassinated along with his wife. His wife was also assassinated. So, now this led to Austro-Hungary declaring war on Serbia. Now, what happened when Austro-Hungary started war on Serbia? I told you Serbia is always backed by Russia. Immediately Russia entered war. But one thing very funny is here, in the previous lecture we discussed, this is 1914. So, just 3 years before Russian Revolution, Russia was in total chaos. It was a disaster country at that time, but still Tsar Nicholas II was quite content, happy, and he wanted to send his troops, okay, to a war. There, most of the people, one more thing you have to understand, all these nations were of that illusion that I am going to fight a war, I am going to finish my task very easily. They never thought it is going to snowball into a major conflict like World War I. But the main reason I told you, one is supported by other is supported by others. So, everybody is bringing their own gang. It has become a big war, that World War, first World War. So, they never had any idea of starting World War, because they wanted to expand their territories, they wanted to show their dominance, that is okay, but they are not prepared to lose so many, men, so much loss of economy. After World War, inflation grows up like anything. So, it was a miscalculated war by most of the nations, and this is what happened. And then, when Russia began, Germany declared war on Russia. So, when Russia enters, Germany declared war. And now, Germany makes very fast moves, declaring war on all major countries. The way they actually instigate Great Britain says why Germany is pre-planned. I will tell you how they instigate Germany, UK. Now, the timeline. So, first one, Austro-Hungary declares war on Serbia, then Germany declares war on Russia, then Germany declares war on France. So, this is a Schlieffen plan. What is this? Schlieffen plan. Actually, Schlieffen is the name of a general. I told you a couple of times that Germany pre-planned this war some decades ago. So, this general always had one plan. That plan means, see, the battle takes place in two fronts. One is Eastern Front, the other one is a Western Front. For example, you take this is Germany. So, now this is the center for all war now. What is the biggest country here? Russia. This is known as Eastern Front. And then this is Western Front. They are fighting against Great Britain, fighting against France. Okay, these are main. Okay, so now the point is, Germany doesn't want to fight both the fronts at the same time, because you need a lot of soldiers, you need a lot of arms and ammunition. So the point is, first Germany wanted to attack here Russia, and then immediately France, they wanted to actually so overconfident, they wanted to crush this kingdom before they go for Great Britain. Okay, so that was the plan. It is very simple that you can't fight on both the fronts. That is not practical wise. So that is a very simple plan. That general, okay, he planned this. Okay, that is Schlieffen plan. Schlieffen plan. Schlieffen is the name of a Germany general, general of a army. General of a army. So now Germany invades Belgium. Britain declares war on Germany. This is total unnecessary thing, just to instigate. So let me again go there, discuss that one, we will understand better. You see, Germany here, if Germany wants to attack France, they can attack straight away. What are they doing? Here, Belgium. They are coming like this. What does it mean? Actually, Great Britain and Belgium, they had their agreements. Of course, it was long ago, somewhere 1889 or somewhere, but they had their agreements that in times of war you have to support me. So now, maybe Germany knew that unnecessarily. See, going straight saves a lot of time and it will be less expensive. But unnecessarily going in other country, how can you trespass another sovereign country? How can you move with your artillery, move your tanks, everything in another country without their consent? So you are directly saying, I don't care about your sovereignty. So I am ready to crush you, I am ready to defeat you, and by doing that they have instigated Great Britain. They know that Great Britain will come. So now there is war, Eastern Front, okay, this front also. Okay. So but here miscalculation. Actually, first they have to either defeat Russia or defeat France and then go for it. Now war is going on Eastern Front as well as Western Front. From technical point of view, Germany actually terrorized all countries. Although they were defeated, they terrorized, because of course they are also great military power, but the point is the others are not less. France and Great Britain, they had their so many colonies, like so many colonies in Africa, and India has sent 10 to 13 lakh people. Okay, so that is little overconfident move by Germany. Now then the Battle of Tannenberg is fought. The Germans defeat Russian Second Army. Of course, the initial gains were made by Germany. Okay, Tannenberg is a place in Russia there. So they have defeated Russian Second Army. Okay. Then another one is Allies defeat Germans at the First Battle of Ypres. Okay. So this is another important battle. So Germans were defeated by Allies. So always remember, Allies means France, Russia, Great Britain. Okay. Then Ottoman Empire declares war on Allies. As I already told you, Ottoman Empire is nothing but Turkey. As 13 countries from Ottoman Empire broke away, Turkey is remained. So that Turkey is modern, not a dynasty. No, at that time Ottoman Empire means dynasty. Okay. At that time it was empire. It declares war on Allies. So Turkey also enters, and there was some truce. Truce means some kind of a treaty, peace treaty, because of Christmas. So they said, okay, whatever happened, take rest for Christmas, celebrate the festival, we will meet you after the festival. So this is the timeline. Now, 1915, Allies attack Ottoman Empire in Battle of Gallipoli. So this is a place in Turkey, Gallipoli. Okay. So this attack took place in Turkey. Then Bulgaria enters war by declaring war on Serbia. You know, Serbia, Russia were united, they are supporting each other. That means Bulgaria is supporting Central Powers, that is Germany and its allies. So now the other war is a Battle of Verdun, begins between France and Germany. France and Germany. It actually was a very long battle. It lasted until December 1960, and actually French emerged as victorious in this battle. And then the largest naval battle, we have been discussing this. This is like a big fight between Germany and Great Britain. You know, Germany and Great Britain, in between you have that sea, Atlantic Sea. That part of Atlantic Sea known as North Sea. Let me show you for that. You see, you have this. This is North Sea. Can you see that? This is North Sea. Okay. So this is where that battle took place. Okay. Very severe battle. Actually, both the countries are just showing their navy strength. Okay. And I have to tell you one thing. First time Germany has started using submarines, torpedoes, and they had something known as their submarines are known as U-boats. U-boats. These U-boats were like terror at that time. Terror. That means, you see, United Kingdom is an island country. Island country. So if it requires food and any other supplies, okay, so that's a small country. They cannot grow everything. They need import. So they have a lot of money. They were importing everything. So Germany's tactic is that just block, make a naval blockade, block, and then starve the people, okay, without any imported food or anything else. So this is where Germany made a mistake. Okay. United Kingdom also did the same thing. They also used navy to block, naval blockade for Germany to starve it. But Germany had little bit support from these countries and they have territories. but for this United Kingdom, it's a island country. So each other countries were using their navy strength to block their territories, and whatever they are importing essential goods, they wanted to stop, and they wanted to damage from that perspective, that point also. And as I told you, U-boats were terror because you might have heard torpedoes. Torpedoes are like a cylinder shaped, this kind of a shaped, okay, missiles. Normally you use missiles on the land, but here they are underwater missiles. Underwater missiles. You can use missiles from aeroplane, you can use missiles from submarines. What that happens is, actually they go and hit the target and they explode. When they hit the target, they explode. At that time, that was a great technology. And actually, I know, we all know that Germany was preparing for this kind of battles. So they really surprised them. Even great naval power, Britain was surprised. But Britain had a lot of ships and everything. Although Britain lost more ships, more men, Britain withstood its territory, that northern sea, and they just wanted to fight because they had a lot of strength in navy. So Germany, although they had little, less ships in comparison to Great Britain, they have to fight on all fronts. That's why they have to retreat. But here they made a mistake. When they are bombing all these imports, blockading, bombing, they have bombed America's merchant, ships, merchant ships. They have bombed. So now you know what happens. America is like bound with the best. So you should not. Actually, America was neutral, very much neutral. In Second World War also it was neutral. In Second World War, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, a harbor known as Pearl Harbor. Then America entered. Then war became one side. This is what happened. In the same way, First World War, Germany now, they have knowingly or unknowingly, they are just smashing all essential goods of the ships which are carrying essential goods. And you know, US ships are bringing those imports to UK, and then they were bombed. Hundreds of people died, including American citizens. At that time, Woodrow Wilson was the president, and there was a lot of hue and cry in American public that they wanted to go for a war. And then later they also entered. Now America enters war, and they support which powers? Allied powers. Allied powers. Okay. So that is a mistake. Germany is unnecessarily provoking, instigating all the countries. One thing, this is totally unnecessary, because all these European countries, they had long history of enmity, things escalated, it is understandable. But why to instigate a country which is far away, which is not at all in Europe, and then you have to be little bit careful, but they were not. So this necessitated the entry of a US. Then you know what happens when US enters. And very interestingly, at the same time, Russia, by the time America entered, it was 17, okay, 17, 18, at that time America entered, last 1 year. Then we also discussed that Russia at that time, Lenin already came to power at that time. Lenin already came to power. We discussed Brest-Litovsk. This is the one treaty. Lenin was not interested in First World War, because he had his own problems in Russia, civil war, all that problems. He wanted to concentrate and consolidate his power there. So he made a treaty with Germany. So, this happens very immediately. Once America entered, Russia leaves the scene. The reason is their own scene, their own problems, that civil war, all that. So, that is Ukraine city, that treaty takes place, Brest-Litovsk treaty. We have discussed that Russia had to give lot of land to Germany, lot of men also. We discussed 60,000 people there at that time. It is a very humiliating, embarrassing treaty for Russia, but there was no way out. Lenin was more interested in arranging things in his own country instead of going for international conflicts. So, now America comes, but Germany was as belligerent as ever, very aggressive. Then once America comes, that war ends in favor of allies. Russia, I mean Germany had to retreat, and then we discuss everything there from that slide. Now, I just wanted to show you what is North Sea. Okay. Now, have we discussed this Battle of Somme? Battle of Somme. This is actually very biggest war. Okay, 1 million soldiers, okay, died or killed, and they say that in one day itself 80,000 soldiers were killed. Okay. So, in terms of loss of lives, Battle of Somme was the biggest battle at that time. And then when you talk about naval battle, that is Jutland. Okay. So, remember this, okay, Gallipoli battle, Verdun battle, Battle of Jutland, and Battle of Somme. Okay. And Tannenberg, first battle Russia were retreated, Tannenberg, then Ypres, Tannenberg, Ypres, Gallipoli, third one, Verdun, fourth one, Jutland, fifth one, Somme, sixth one. There are many other battles, but they are noteworthy battles, from exam point of view. Then 1917, United States enters war. This is what I told you, the background, how Germany instigated Great Britain, how Germany instigated America, and then that was a fatal blow for Germany. Okay. We have already discussed Bolsheviks led by Lenin, okay, overthrew Russian government in 1917, and then they were interested in their own affairs rather than this international conflict. Okay. Then Russia agrees to peace. I told you what that peace is also, okay, Brest-Litovsk treaty. Okay. Then Woodrow Wilson issues 14 points of peace and end to the war. Germany launches, they launch spring offensive, okay, offensive in spring to defeat allies, okay, before reinforcement from United States can be deployed, because more soldiers, more arms, ammunition are coming from United States. So, before it comes, they wanted to defeat. But what happens? Another battle took place. This is Marne war, Battle of Marne. Marne is actually river. It is a river, Marne valley. So, the war took place there, and then the battle ends as a decisive victory for the allies. So, that is perhaps last battle, Marne. So, it is a river in France. Okay. So, now what happens? Germany agrees to settlement and the fighting comes to an end. Okay. You know when it comes to end? November 11th month, date 11th, time also 11th. So, we do not know whether German people believed in astrology, but it was otherwise it was coincidental, because November 11th 11 a.m. they have agreed for settlement. So, the war ends 1918. So, now you see, we always talk about Germany as the culprit behind wars. There is no doubt about it, but it is not that easy to say Germany alone is the culprit for the World War I, because you cannot start alone, you cannot sustain that war alone. There should be other culprits also. So, many historians had different views, but every historian held Germany responsible for World War I, but they added other countries also. Mainly, apart from Germany, they added Austro-Hungary Empire, Habsburg Empire, and then Russia, okay, then France, then Great Britain. Some people also add Serbia also. People call it like a rogue state, a rogue country. They were also responsible. Okay. But see, killing one person, assassinating one person is sad. But how many people are killed here? So, assassination of one important person should not necessitate a global world war. That is not logical. And also you cannot completely say that Serbian people had their hand, their backing for that person. Maybe they might have supported that organization. Sometimes when you are supporting, you know, Pakistan supporting terrorists, sometimes terrorists listen to Pakistan, sometimes they bomb Pakistan itself. It is out of your control. So, they are also partially responsible, but from technical point of view, all the countries, they discussed it almost 6 months. What should be the outcomes of, I mean, here you have to understand, we have to go back to this great city, that is Versailles. We already discussed it in French Revolution, that is a resplendent, magnificent palace on the outskirts of Paris, okay, where Louis XVI and their ancestors lived. So, there in Versailles, this treaty took place. Treaty means who should be held responsible and what should they pay, how long should they pay, how much should they pay. So, and territories also must be divided. Lot of developments take place. This is also very important, not also very important, as important as causes of World War I, that is Versailles Treaty. Okay. So, now let us discuss Versailles Treaty. World War I officially ended by signing Treaty of Versailles in 1919. So, what are the terms? See, as I told you, they discussed for 6 long months, and then there are 440 clauses, 26 clauses were related to League of Nations. League of Nations is like a UNO. Before UNO, there was one organization named League of Nations, but League of Nations lost its credibility or its authority because Second World War took place. 1918, First World War ended. Now, Hitler raised to prominence. Then he started 1939 itself. 1939 itself. Not even just 20 years, he started. Germany lost so many things, but again it raised like phoenix, then started another world war. You cannot say Germany here, because First World War, Kaiser Wilhelm I, he was the culprit. No common man in any country wants war. Even German people, they are not interested. They don't have any other option. Soldiers are not interested. He had his own agenda. He just started it. Second World War. That's why League of Nations was inconsequential. I mean, it was of no importance. But at that time, they wanted to prevent further wars like world wars, but it did not happen. So, main clause is war guilt. Who is guilty of this war? As I discussed, a lot of countries are responsible, but Germany was held responsible for all the blame. Now, so what are those clauses? Okay, 414 clauses are dedicated to punish Germany in different ways. Even in history, people thought this Versailles Treaty was little bit harsh. Make no mistake, very important one, this Versailles Treaty is also very important cause, or the important cause for World War II, because German people got embarrassed. They have to pay so much. So, Versailles Treaty can be important reason for World War II. So, reparations, you see, reparations means when you wage a war or do something damage, you have to pay in the form of money, that is reparations. Germany was asked to pay 6,600 million. At that time, it was huge, dollars, 6,600 million, and they had to pay it for a long time. Okay, and then military causes. See, you can see lot of embarrassment for first of all, they said you cannot have air force, no air force for you, and then army you can maintain only 1 lakh people. So, they were almost all asked to disarm their military, and you have to abolish conscription also. So, conscription means military recruitment. So, you cannot recruit more people, so stop your conscription, stop your armament, do it like disarmament. And as far as navy is concerned, you can have only 6 ships, no submarines. Why? They have shown the power of submarines in the form of U-boats, terrorized everybody. So, torpedoes, all are very dangerous weapons. They said no submarines, only ships. They also only 6 ships, and then no air force. And then there were some lands like areas like Rhineland, okay, another place, land. All these lands were given to France and Great Britain. These lands are full of natural resources, particularly minerals, coal, all these. Those lands were given to Great Britain as well as France for many years. So, whatever profits they get, they have to take that. Okay. And then river Rhine and open Kiel canal to all nations. There was a canal, so you have to give water to all nations. What are the territorial clauses? These are very important, territorial clauses. That means it has to give away so many lands. You see, Anschluss, that means Germany was not allowed to unite with Austria. We all know it's like Germany is one bad guy, Austria-Hungary is one bad guy, and they are saying you two bad guys should not meet, should not unite. So that is the clause. Germany lost land to a number of other countries, so much land. Then Alsace-Lorraine, that means some places, Eupen and Malmedy. These are some places in Germany. They were given to Belgium. You know, they trespassed Belgium, and then so they have to face. I mean, they used that country as battleground. So these places actually, these are German-speaking lands, places. But as a part of reparations, you have to give those lands. Then North Schleswig was given to Denmark. That place was given to Denmark. And then land was also taken from Germany, given to Czechoslovakia and Poland. Actually, a lot of, at that time, land was given to Poland, not only from Germany, from Habsburg Empire also, because Poland, actually Germany used Poland like anything. In Second World War, Poland's situation was very horrible. Hitler did all sort of experiments in Poland. It was like a lab. Okay, they invented poisons or even weaponaries. They used it on Poland people. It was like lab. So that is the one problem. And League of Nations took control of German colonies. Germany had a lot of colonies in Africa. So now it's like UNO at that time, League of Nations. So they took German colonies. Then what are the political clauses? Political clauses. Now you can see Germany recognized the independence of Belgium, Poland, Czechoslovakia, German, Austria. She was asked to give consent to invalidation. I already told you many times that Russia's embarrassing treaty was Brest-Litovsk. So now what they are saying is, Russia gave a lot of land and money, men also. That is the treaty. Now Germany had to invalidate that. That means you have to give back all those. There was a similar agreement with Romania. Okay, capital city is Bucharest. So all those treaties you have to cancel and give their land back to them, to Russia as well as Romania. Then she had to permit the allies to make new arrangements regarding the affairs of Eastern Europe. So this is what all happened. Now there are other important things to know, that mainly this war is also known as graveyard for dynasties. Notably 4 dynasties that disappeared from prominence. What are they? 1, Romanovs, that is Russian Tsars. Then we have this Turkey. Turkey dynasty is known as Khalifa, or you call it Sultan. That dynasty also disappeared. Then the other one is Habsburg, Austria-Hungary, Habsburg. Dynasty, that also disappeared. Okay. Then German umpire, they are known as Hohenzollern. That is like a tongue twister. That dynasty also disappeared. So you may call it First World War is like a graveyard for dynasties. Okay. So causes of World War. Then we have this Versailles Treaty. These are all important. Sometimes questions can be given like maybe 2013 or 14 I have seen in question papers. They were giving how Germany was responsible for both the world wars. They can combine questions like that. We are talking about World War now. One, we may discuss World War II later in the other class, but there is no rule that they have to give questions only from this topic. They can combine two topics, World War I and II, they may ask questions. Not all the questions, like as Germany was responsible for both the wars, they may ask how Germany was responsible, something like that from exam point of view. Versailles Treaty is very important, very important. The reason is, it is actually embarrassing for Germany. Even Great Britain accepted on one point of time that this treaty was a little bit harsh, more harsh on Germans. So that is why, that is one of the reasons why Hitler was able to make that propaganda in Germany, that we have to show the world that what we are, who we are. So he wanted to show that, and then he made the people believe whatever he said, they believed. There was a lot of inflation after First World War. Germany has to, Germany finances have collapsed, economy has collapsed. And very interestingly, you know who helps Germany? It's America. America comes and helps Germany. They steer away them through the difficult financial collapses. But America also gets a depression at that time, that is a economic depression. So whole world was in a financial crisis. So, but one thing is, as America's loss in war is very limited, because it always entered very late. Even in Second World War, they were very neutral, very neutral. So unless and until Japan bombs Pearl Harbor, they don't enter. So that's why America actually developed a lot after First World War I. But very interestingly, the world has not learned lessons from this World War I, and they just engaged themselves in World War II immediately after 20 years. So that was not acceptable, and it is somewhat positive that after World War II we didn't have any World War III. Okay, there was a big gap. So because these days if World War takes place, it will be collateral damage. In a modern warfare, there is no victor, there is no victim. All are victims, because you lose a lot of lives, lot of economy will be collapsed. So that's why in modern warfare, no victors, no victims, all are victims. That's why sometimes nuclear weapons, weapons of mass destruction help the cause of peace. For example, if there is a peace between India and Pakistan, main reason is nuclear weapons, because we all are afraid of nuclear weapons. They cause so much destruction. So in a very strange way, weapons are very instrumental in creating peace among the countries. So, that is very strange thing, but that is true. Online students, what was the last dynasty which became graveyard? That is a German, Johann Joel-Warren, German emperor, German dynasty. We have discussed Kaiser Wilhelm II, so he belongs to that dynasty. Sony Biswas, is that doubt clear? Okay. Now, we have actually 23 minutes of time. So, without wasting that, we would discuss, there is one small topic. So, that is colonialism, imperialism and feudalism. We will have a discussion on that. It is a small topic. We need to go those files. We need to go back to that files. Where here, this one? Okay. What? This one? Okay. So, now feudalism, imperialism, colonialism. Okay, we all know what is feudalism, imperialism and colonialism, but when they give this for exam point of view, 1 or 2 lines are not enough. That is why we need to discuss in depth. Again here, see, very interestingly, Europe is very developed continent. Feudalism is a very backward concept, barbarian concept. This concept existed in Europe more than any other countries. It was not there in Africa. Okay, it may be there, but most of the feudalism, particularly very interestingly, feudalism existed in France for a long time. We know French Revolution took place, even at that time feudalism was there. So, even in 18th century also. But in other European countries, feudalism existed up to 15th century. Okay. So, what is actually feudalism is a combination of legal, military customs in medieval Europe, not modern Europe, medieval Europe. It was way of structuring society around relationships. So, actually they give the land and then In exchange for that, you have to do service or labor. Who give land? King or emperor gives land. Actually, it happened because king and emperor's army was not very great at that time. Then they used to give land to nobles and lords. Those people, see here, a king gives land to a noble and a lord. Okay, actually try to understand, there is a thin layer of difference between noble and lord. Actually, these nobles were actually soldiers once, and they were given a lot of land. So they became nobles. Okay, and then these nobles in turn gave land to lords. They are like landlords. These landlords gave land to common people. Those people have to do that agriculture there. They have to pay taxes to these people, lords and nobles, and that tax is given to king. When there is a war, all these common people, okay, lords and nobles and common people, they all have to do that service in the war. That means you have to participate in the war. And actually, when kingdoms became big, when militaries became modernized, kings and emperors did not have that requirement, okay, from nobles and lords to take their help in military matters, particularly in war. So then this feudalism slowly declined when army itself became big enough. So that means before that army was decentralized. That means king has very small number of soldiers, okay, and he needs for every operation, every war, every small attack, he needs support of nobles and lords. Nobles were none other than once they were soldiers. So not only land here, for example, a king gives land in one area. He says, you have the control and power over all that area and land. He is like a vassal, we say like a subordinate king, subordinate authority. And under them lords are there. Okay, lords are not actually soldiers, but they do have the authority over a particular area. They also have that land. They give it to common people. So this is, okay, vassal means like a subordinates. And those lands were divided into fiefs or vassals also. Now, whenever main thing is they have to pay taxes, whenever there is a war, they have to support. Next, feudalism in Europe. I already told you Europe has become very good example for feudalism. That is very interesting because Europe is very developed continent, but they followed feudalism. Until 15th century, this feudalism followed. They followed feudalism. Then it began when mounted soldiers started establishing land holdings of their own. Mounted soldiers are nothing but those soldiers who are on the horsebacks, sitting on the horsebacks. As I told you, they become nobility after that, and they give land to landlords. Landlords give land to common people. They have to pay taxes as well as support in wars. Then what happened? This led to vast land holdings in the hands of soldiers, who eventually became nobility. I have told you, this point already. Then further subdivided into vassals and fiefs. Okay, those lands were divided into vassals and fiefs. So in feudalism, particularly in Europe, okay, during Frankish Empire, where it borrowed from Roman and Germanic traditions. That means these people just followed it from Rome and Germany. Initial feudal structure comprised of king handing out land grants to nobles, who in turn gave it to lords. Lords then hired peasants, bonded or free. I told you already. Okay, this is where this word serfdom comes. Serfdom means, what is serfdom? Important one. This is like a slavery, but particularly in agriculture. Okay, slavery in agriculture. It actually happens in feudalism. Okay, bonded or free. What is this bonded or free? Those people, peasants, who work for lords or nobles, they don't take any salary or wages. They have to work there, and then that is bonded labor, because they cannot say, I cannot come tomorrow, or I will not work for you. This is bonded labor, or you may call it indentured labor. That is one problem. And then for working, they may get like 3 square meals a day, or else no food at all. They just have to work. So that is a problem. So these people were exploited like that. But you have to understand, when these people got enlightenment, people got educated, and then I told you, emperors and kings were no longer in need of these nobles and lords. That is one reason why it declined. Another reason is, there was some awareness, enlightenment among the people, that we are also human beings, we have rights, we have natural rights, we have equality, liberty, and if at all we work, if interested we will work, or otherwise we won't work. If we work, you have to give us wages. The next step is wages, you have to give fair wages. You cannot exploit working hours. You have to make us work only 8 hours. After that comes, people will go for stepwise. First they were working without wages, then later with wages, then limited work hours, then they were concerned about working conditions. You have seen that in Russian Revolution, companies, factories, all that. That's how people started evolving one step after that. Okay, once you achieve one thing, you go for a next thing, like that. Then there is no room for feudalism when people get that enlightenment. Okay, then provided aid to the king during wars, vowed their allegiance to them, to him. To him means here king or a emperor. So this is what I told you. I have already discussed 2 to 3 times how king gives land to nobles, noble gives land to lords, lord gives lands to peasants for bonded or free labor, and then in times they have to pay taxes also, very horribly. They have to pay taxes, and then when there is a requirement, they have to participate in war in support of them. Feudalism in France rose because after Frankish armies, soldiers settled down, they were able to secure land holdings. Okay, it's all started with the Frankish armies. Then, since previous social structures were present during Roman era had crumbled in Western Europe, then feudalism emerged as viable alternative for the new social circumstances. This is why it rapidly spread to Europe as well. Okay. So they have got it from Rome, and it has rapidly spread in Europe also. Now, Decline of feudalism in Europe. I have already discussed this one, how it declined. How it declined? Bedrock of feudalism is a need for king to get armed help. But now, organizations and nature of armies became sophisticated. I told you, when armies became sophisticated, they became modern, they became large. The dependence of a king or emperor on feudal lords or nobles started declining. Okay, and then increasingly comprised of professional soldiers and mercenaries. So, soldiers and mercenaries. See, actually this is very interesting thing. Mercenary is one who does anything for money. If you give me money, I will kill the people. They want money, they are mercenaries. So, now taking peasants, you might understand one thing, peasants are very poor people, they are not strong people. Taking them to war is not a good sign, not logical. There may be that logic also. So, now you take mercenaries, professional soldiers are there, apart from that take mercenaries. These two comprised of a army. So, there was no need of a nobility and lords and then peasants for wars. Then this trend was coupled with many events such as Black Death, so that is plague, Black Death, and changes in economy, land based to money based. So, this is very important. See, land based to money based. See, when there was no currency, when there was no money involved, everything is about a barter system. You grow something, he grows something, you have to exchange that. So, now the point is growing everything you need land. So, possessing land is prime importance. There is no other way of amassing wealth. So, now economy has started growing from land based to money based or currency based. So, now the importance of land is decreased, because if you have money, that is enough. If you have gold, that is also enough. You can sustain your life. So, very important valid point, when economy changed from land based to money based or currency based, that was also important reason for the decline of feudalism. Okay. Then the peasants revolt in England and similar revolts in other parts of Europe. So, wherever you see, whether it is French Revolution or Russian Revolution, peasants are main. In Russia, workers and peasants. In France, more people are peasants. And what is the problem? Food problem. So, peasants, they were very much tortured. There was a time for them to revolt. When it became intolerable, they started revolting. So, there is a kind of awareness, revolutions from the peasants. It also caused a decline of feudalism. By 19th century also marked similar trends. But we need to understand, in France 1781 it started, 1793 ended revolution. What is that? 18th century. Until 18th century feudalism existed in France. That is very not a progressive sign for that country. A country like France continued feudalism, that is not good. But in other countries, just by 14th and even 15th century, that was the last century for feudalism. So, actually this is a first topic in our syllabus, okay, a small topic. Okay, now we are going to discuss feudalism, imperialism, and then actually decline of feudalism. Is the same one or kings increased their power and gave protection their subjects. So, the necessity of feudal lords was not felt in the society. When a lot of cities improved through trade and commerce, they paid back money. Now, people also, when they have money, they gave to them. It is like a bonded labor. They gave money, okay, now let me be free, I am going on my way. So, lot of cities flourished, people got money and then they paid back to their lords. So, that is the end of their feudal relationship. And then when there was shortage of people to perform cultivation, see how it happened. People started working for them like labor, bonded labor. Now, there is shortage of work, feudal lords started working. Okay, they were compelled to rearing of sheep and cattle also. Okay, they are doing that because there are no peasants, nobody to work. Then use of gunpowder made the king more powerful and feudal lords could not be matched to them. So, lot of technological development, gunpowder, guns, everything, arms ammunition. So, now when you have that technology and strong weapons, what is the need of feudal lords and the other, nobility? There is no need. So, one thing you can say that a lot of development and modernization took place, then that necessitated, there is no room for feudalism, there is no use of them. Okay. It is not that kings, emperors were very sympathetic to peasants, it is not like that, there was no need for them. Then, and also there was some kind of awareness from the peasants. Then, the invention of printing machine, okay, then education changed the outlook of the people. This is what I am talking about, awareness, enlightenment, change. We have discussed many enlightenment thinkers, philosophers, inspired the people like John Locke, Montesquieu, Rousseau, all this. So, people got enlightened. By the beginning of 16th century, feudalism has already ended in most of the Europe. However, it remained in France, where 18th century French Revolution put a final end to it. So, we have already discussed that. So, it was still there during French Revolution, but French Revolution has put an end to it. The end of feudalism in most part of the Europe was also effect of a Renaissance. We have this topic, we will discuss that Renaissance, Industrial Revolution, all that. Renaissance means a revival of art and literature. Art and literature. How it happened? We know when all the people are involved in labor, involved in agriculture, where is the time, where is the taste for people to talk about art and literature? There is no time. So, the end of feudalism has given birth to Renaissance. People found you need to have some time, leisure time, then you think about art and literature. So, this is what happened. Renaissance, Renaissance means revival of art and literature. The conquest of industrial revolution, which increased demand for wage labor. So, I already told you industrial revolution. So, particularly started in England. So, when we have industrial revolution, you have factories. When you have factories, workers. Workers work for wages. They talk about working hours. They talk about working conditions. This is a different scenario from feudalism. So, decline of feudalism gave birth to Renaissance as well as industrial revolutions. These are two topics in our syllabus we will be discussing. Perhaps industrial revolution is a very big chapter, biggest chapter from all of your world history chapters. So, the industrial revolution is a key reason for all good things and bad things. Bad things means industrial revolution took place. Great Britain started all kind of companies and factories. For that they needed raw material. For raw material they started colonizing. For colonization they had competition with other European powers. They started wars, global wars, world wars. See how everything is interlinked. Industrial revolution is a great thing to have happened, but can you imagine that is also important reason for all these wars, because wherever you see Great Britain is involved in wars, because they want economy, they want authority, imperialism, all this, just because of the development of companies and factories. They wanted raw material and everything happened. Now, what is colonialism? I think it is already 9 o'clock. So, we will resume from where we are stopping here. So, remember, so we have completed feudalism. We are going to discuss imperialism and colonialism. And online students, thank you for your time and patience. I will see you in the next week. Last time I told you next week, sorry, I was wrong. Thank you all. If you have any questions, will you please ask the admin to upload the PDF on the portal? Sure, Sohini Biswas, I will inform them. We will try to help you out. They are asking PDFs, madam, if possible, upload. Okay, thank you all.